I think, yeah, as it is probably the case everywhere, but especially here, the economy is really prioritised over health.
Switzerland has been through 2 waves of the coronavirus crisis and is currently extending restrictions to avoid a third. I spoke to Nina Suter, a Swiss native who is currently living in Zurich, about the Swiss government's handling of the pandemic and their new strategy to guide the nation out of crisis.
The first wave was handled well, I think. That's when the federal government took over, declared it an emergency sort of state, and yeah, the death toll was and infection rates were comparatively low then in spring. But the second wave was kind of, I think, like willfully ignored. I mean, scientists kept telling us, and the Corona task force of scientists said, "Oh, the second wave will come and it will be worse." And they just, I mean, events with over 1,000 people were allowed again as of October 1st last year. Clubs, bars, they were all open. There was no masks weren't mandatory indoors. And that was all, I think, motivated by the economy and by keeping these businesses open. I mean, it's wild when you have the Swiss finance minister. So he is one of the 7 federal sort of ministers that we have. He said, "Oh, we can't afford a second lockdown. We just don't have the money for it," which is absolutely wild. I mean, this is one of the richest countries, like globally. Even among my friends, maybe some friends who study economics would agree with that and say, "Oh yeah, economy is the only way out of this." But the second wave really showed that you can't separate economy and health, because I mean, we were asked to just restrict our social lives, and individual responsibility was the big thing. But as the numbers showed, that didn't work, and everything was kind of done to ensure that people were still able to go to work and, yeah, to do work, even as they were asked to restrict their social life more and more.
Following a national lockdown, Switzerland is slowly opening up again. However, plans to fully ease restrictions have been paused due to a rise in the number of new infections, and the Swiss government are testing a new strategy to tackle the virus.
So right now we have some first sort of easing up on restrictions after kind of a national lockdown. So right now, restaurants, bars, and clubs are still closed, but the shops have opened up again, and you're allowed to meet up with up to 5 people indoors and up to 15 people outside. They have a new strategy now, which is loads of testing. So, what their vision is that I think as of April, every citizen should be allowed to have a free self-test, up to 5 in a month. And they're trying to, yeah, really start with testing. And yeah, that is the new strategy. I think lots of testing and tracking and tracing where it's possible.